Welcome, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into a really fascinating topic, something a lot of you have been requesting. We're going to be exploring the power of the subconscious mind. And to guide us through this hidden world within, we'll be delving into a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy.
It's a classic, published back in '88. And it really dives deep into some pretty remarkable concepts, promising to reveal all these secrets to, well, achieving miracles in your life. But what's really interesting is how it draws on even earlier ideas and examples.
Yeah, it's like a time capsule, packed with all these fascinating anecdotes and stories. Oh, and get this. There's even a story about a surgeon in India over 120 years ago. He performed hundreds of major surgeries using just the power of the subconscious mind as anesthesia.
Oh, yeah. Dr. James S. Dale.
Yeah.
His work is a captivating example of what Murphy's talking about, the potential of the subconscious. But before we jump into all those specific stories, let's lay down some groundwork, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the core concept here is that your subconscious mind is this powerful force that's actually shaping your reality.
Okay. I think we've all heard of the subconscious, but how does it actually work in this context?
Well, think of it this way. Your subconscious is kind of like a fertile garden, right?
Okay.
And your thoughts are the seeds. Whatever you plant in this garden, whether it's fear or confidence, is going to grow and actually manifest in your experiences. And the book really emphasizes that your subconscious, it doesn't argue with you, it doesn't reason, it just accepts what your conscious mind believes.
So if you constantly tell yourself, I'm going to fail, your subconscious is actually going to make that happen.
Well, it's not about predicting doom. It's more about understanding the immense responsibility we have over our thoughts. Murphy uses this really interesting analogy of a magnetized man versus a demagnetized man.
Oh, okay. I like where this is going. Tell me more about this magnetized man.
All right, so picture this. Someone just full of confidence, faith, they attract opportunities effortlessly. Just because they believe in their own success. That's the magnetized man.
I like it.
Right. On the other hand, you have the demagnetized man. He's plagued with doubts and fears. He repels those opportunities because deep down, he doesn't believe he deserves them.
Okay, that's a powerful visual. But while our beliefs obviously shape our experiences, there are other factors at play too, right? Like external circumstances. Sometimes things just happen.
Oh, of course. Life isn't solely determined by our subconscious. However, Murphy argues that our beliefs significantly influence how we perceive and interact with those external circumstances. It's like they act like a lens through which we interpret the world,
Okay, I get that. So if our subconscious is so receptive to our beliefs, is that where the power of suggestion comes in?
Absolutely. Murphy, he dives into numerous examples of how suggestion, both positive and negative, can actually influence the subconscious. There's this rather unsettling story about a man who actually loses his arm due to a negative suggestion.
Wait, he loses his arm because of a suggestion? How is that even possible?
So this man, he was told by a fortune teller that his arm would wither, and he became so consumed by this fear, constantly focused on this prediction. And sadly, over time, his arm did indeed begin to wither, and ultimately it had to be amputated.
That's both fascinating and a little disturbing. But if we can be impacted so strongly by negative suggestions, can we also harness the power of positive suggestions?
Precisely. And that's where things start to get really interesting. Murphy highlights the power of autosuggestion. It's this practice of repeatedly suggesting positive ideas to your own mind. He shares a really inspiring story about a singer who overcame this crippling stage fright simply by changing her self-talk. She diligently used these positive autosuggestions to convince herself that she was actually a talented and captivating performer.
So by consciously feeding our subconscious with these positive affirmations, we can actually reprogram our deeply held beliefs and ultimately change our experiences.
Exactly. Now, while this isn't some quick fix, and it's definitely not a guarantee, Murphy contends that consistent, deliberate autosuggestion can be a powerful tool for personal transformation.
Okay. Now, this is where it gets really intriguing for me.
Okay.
Because the book goes beyond just everyday challenges. It delves into the realm of healing through the subconscious mind. It's packed with accounts of what some might consider miracles.
Yeah, and these aren't just vague claims. These are detailed accounts that really make you think about the possibilities. For instance, remember the surgeon in India we mentioned earlier?
Yes.
Dr. James S. Dale?
The one performing surgeries with no anesthesia? Yeah, what's the story there? I'm ready.
Okay, so Esdale, he was this Scottish surgeon working in India in the 1840s, long before modern anesthesia.
Oh.
And he discovered that by inducing this deep, almost trance-like state in his patients through hypnotic suggestion, he could perform major surgeries without them feeling any pain. And get this, he documented over 400 major operations done this way.
That's incredible. I mean, mind-blowing. And while, of course, we now have scientific explanations for pain management, Esdale's work still raises some fascinating questions about the mind's role in healing.
Yeah.
I mean, are these cases truly miracles, or is there a methodology that we can understand?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
While we may not be able to definitively prove the mechanisms at play in every single case, Murphy points to this one consistent element, belief.
Okay.
Whether it's faith in a higher power or in the power of one's own mind, that conviction seems to play a crucial role in activating the subconscious mind's healing potential.
And he doesn't just focus on individual cases, though, right?
Oh.
He also looks at healings that are reported at these shrines around the world.
You got it. Murphy suggests that these occurrences, often attributed to divine intervention, might actually be explained by the power of collective faith and imagination, activating the subconscious mind's innate healing abilities.
So even if we set aside the question of divine intervention, the shared belief itself might be a powerful trigger.
Exactly.
I mean, he even mentions a man being cured of tuberculosis by, a piece of wood that his son pretended was from the true cross.
That's one of the more striking examples. It really suggests that the power of belief, whether directed towards a religious relic or just toward the power of one's own mind, can be this potent force in the healing process.
It's so interesting, this concept of belief influencing the subconscious. And then he also delves into something called prayer therapy, right?
Yes, and his approach is quite distinct from what you might think of as traditional prayer. He presents prayer therapy as this conscious, deliberate communication with your own subconscious mind.
Okay.
It's not about pleading with some external deity. It's about establishing a direct line of communication with your inner world, bypassing the need for that external intervention.
So instead of pleading to an external deity, it's more about tapping into this power within. It almost sounds like self-hypnosis in a way.
There are definitely some parallels, and the book actually outlines 3 key steps to what he calls successful prayer therapy. First, you have to acknowledge the problem or desire you want to address. Second, turn to your subconscious mind for a solution, truly believing that it holds the wisdom and power to actually help you.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, rest in the belief that it is done, trusting that your subconscious is working on your behalf, even if you don't see immediate results.
So you just think about what you want, and your subconscious makes it happen. It sounds almost too easy.
Well, again, it's not magic, right? It requires consistent practice and a deep understanding of the techniques for effectively communicating with your subconscious. And that's where, Murphy's exploration of these specific techniques like visualization, those mental movies and affirmations comes into play.
Ah, yes. Those tools for impressing the subconscious. I'm starting to see a theme here. It sounds like imagery and repetition are key to really influencing the subconscious mind.
You're picking up on a crucial element. And the book is full of examples of how to actually utilize these techniques.
Okay.
For instance, there's this compelling story about a woman who successfully resolves a lawsuit using a technique called it is finished in divine order.
It is finished in divine order. It's almost like a mantra.
Exactly.
But these techniques aren't just for resolving legal battles, right? You could use them for attracting wealth or success or...
Absolutely. In fact, Murphy actually dedicates a significant portion of the book to explaining what he calls the abundance mindset and how to attract wealth by, working with your subconscious.
Okay. I think we could all use a little more abundance in our lives. So let's dive into that.
All right. So the book emphasizes that true wealth is a subconscious conviction. It's not just the result of hard work or luck. It's about aligning your conscious mind with the idea of wealth, believing that you are worthy and deserving of abundance.
But how do you actually convince your subconscious mind that you're, destined for wealth? I mean, it's easy to say, I am wealthy, but if you're struggling to pay rent, it's kind of hard to truly believe it, right?
Yeah. That's where the techniques we just discussed come in. Murphy shares this really powerful example about a young boy who desperately wanted to become a doctor. Every night, he would vividly visualize a medical diploma, his name on it, hanging proudly on the wall.
Wow.
He even imagined himself, cleaning and polishing the diplomas at the medical building where he, pictured himself working, really immersing himself in that mental picture of his future success.
So he, went all in on the visualization. Did he actually become a doctor?
He did. Years later, that mental picture became his reality. And this story, it exemplifies the power of seeing the end, using your imagination to pave the path towards your goals. It also highlights the danger of harboring those negative thoughts about money and the importance of cultivating that abundance mindset.
So instead of stressing over bills, I should be visualizing myself swimming in a vault of cash like Scrooge McDuck.
Well, the imagery you choose is personal, but the key is to focus on the feeling of abundance, of having more than enough to meet your needs and pursue your dreams.
Okay, I can get behind that. But this idea of the subconscious as a partner in success, it goes beyond just money, right?
Absolutely. Murphy encourages using the subconscious to achieve goals in all areas of life. He actually highlights the story of a stockbroker who employed a fascinating technique from the renowned writer Goethe.
Goethe, as in the Faust guy. What does he have to do with stockbroking?
So Goethe, he had this unique method of having these imaginary conversations with people.
Oh, interesting.
He'd picture them vividly, responding to his questions and concerns in really helpful ways. So this stockbroker, inspired by Goethe, began having these imaginary conversations with a millionaire banker friend, someone he really admired for their financial acumen. And in these mental dialogues, the banker would congratulate him on his wise investment decisions, reinforcing his confidence and intuition.
So he was programming his subconscious with positive reinforcement from an imagined mentor. Did it work?
It did. The book suggests that this technique helped him make smarter investment decisions and ultimately achieve greater success. This story, along with others about improving memory, selling property, overcoming fears, and more, really paint this picture of the subconscious as a powerful toolbox for achieving, our deepest desires.
Wow, this is incredibly empowering. It's like we have this untapped well of potential within us, just waiting to be unlocked.
That's precisely Murphy's message. He wants you to realize that you have the power to create the life you desire, not by working against, but by working with your subconscious mind.
This is all so fascinating. But what about happiness? Can we program ourselves for that too? Can we really just think our way to happiness?
That's a great question, and one that Murphy definitely addresses directly. While achieving goals and experiencing healing are certainly compelling, he emphasizes that inner happiness is really the foundation for a truly fulfilling life.
Okay, so what does he say about cultivating that inner peace and happiness? Is there a specific formula?
He doesn't offer a one-size-fits-all formula, but he does provide some incredibly powerful techniques and examples. For instance, he emphasizes the importance of finding your true expression, engaging in activities that bring you genuine joy, that sense of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
We'll dive deeper into those in the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait. Until then, keep those subconscious minds buzzing with positive vibes, folks. All right, so we're back and ready to jump right back into our deep dive into the power of the subconscious mind. Last time, we left off on this really intriguing question. Can we actually program ourselves for happiness?
Yeah, that's a question that's, captivated thinkers for ages. And Murphy offers a pretty compelling perspective. He really believes that happiness is a choice, an inner state that we cultivate. It's not just a result of those external circumstances.
I like that idea. It resonates with me because so often we get caught up chasing all these external things, right? Like money, possessions, achievements, thinking they hold the key to happiness, but often they only bring temporary satisfaction.
Yeah, exactly. Murphy argues that true happiness is this state of inner peace and fulfillment that comes when we align our thoughts and beliefs with a sense of purpose, and right action. It's about recognizing that inherent goodness within ourselves and in the world around us.
Okay, I'm all for inner peace and harmony, but how do we get there? Does the book, offer a step-by-step guide to achieving lasting happiness?
Well, there's no one-size-fits-all recipe for happiness, right? But Murphy does provide some really powerful techniques and examples. For instance, he emphasizes the importance of finding your true expression, engaging in activities that bring you genuine joy and that sense of purpose.
Yeah, it makes sense. When you're truly passionate about something, it just radiates outward. You can feel the joy and fulfillment.
Exactly. And Murphy stresses that this passion, it doesn't have to be tied to some grand career or this, pursuit of wealth. It could be anything, really. Gardening, volunteering, creating art, spending time in nature, connecting with loved ones, whatever truly lights you up and gives you that sense of meaning.
It's about finding that spark within and nurturing it, allowing it to illuminate your life and the lives around you. But he doesn't just focus on those individual pursuits, right?
Yeah.
He also talks a lot about the importance of relationships.
Absolutely. He actually states that, and this is a quote, "Love is the greatest tonic to the mind and body." He emphasizes that harmonious relationships are essential for a happy and fulfilling life. But, relationships, they can be complex. Sometimes they can be a source of stress and unhappiness.
Oh, definitely. We've all experienced that, the ups and downs, the joys and the challenges of relationships. How does the subconscious factor into creating those harmonious connections that Murphy talks about?
Well, he suggests that we often project our own subconscious beliefs onto others, which can actually impact the dynamics of our relationships. For example, if you secretly believe you're unworthy of love, you might unconsciously attract partners who reinforce that belief.
So it's almost like creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. You expect to be treated a certain way, and then through your actions and perceptions, you unintentionally make it happen.
Exactly. But the encouraging part is that we have the power to reprogram those subconscious beliefs. Murphy provides techniques for attracting loving and supportive relationships just by shifting our focus. He encourages us to visualize ourselves in those healthy, happy relationships, embodying the qualities we desire in our partners and those interactions.
So it's like creating a mental blueprint for the love you want to experience, both giving and receiving. Does that apply to all types of relationships? Family, friends, colleagues?
Yes, all of our connections. He even shares a technique for dealing with those difficult people we inevitably encounter in life.
Yeah.
The ones who seem to push our buttons and trigger those negative reactions.
Oh, I definitely need that technique. We all have that one person, or maybe a few, who just rub us the wrong way.
Well, Murphy's advice might surprise you. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration or defensiveness, he suggests shifting our perspective and trying to understand where that person is coming from.
So instead of meeting animosity with animosity, try to cultivate understanding and compassion. That's easier said than done sometimes, but I see the wisdom in it.
It's a practice. It certainly takes effort. Murphy also suggests that those difficult people, they often reflect back to us our own unresolved issues or, those shadow aspects.
Ooh, that's a tough pill to swallow. But I guess it makes sense. We tend to project outwards what we haven't fully processed within ourselves. So part of creating those harmonious relationships is taking responsibility for our own reactions and choosing a more loving and understanding response.
Precisely. And he also strongly encourages the practice of forgiveness, forgiving others who have hurt us, and even more importantly, forgiving ourselves for those past mistakes.
But forgiveness can be so hard, especially when we've been deeply hurt or made choices that we regret. It's easier to hold on to the anger or the guilt.
And Murphy addresses that head on. He shares this powerful analogy. He says, holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It only harms us in the long run, keeping us trapped in that negativity.
Wow, that's a really vivid image. So if holding on hurts us, how do we actually let go of those negative emotions and truly forgive?
He recommends this technique of mentally releasing the person or the situation that's causing you pain. Imagine them surrounded by love and light, wishing them well, and letting go of any negativity that you're holding on to.
It sounds almost like a form of meditation, a way to detach from that emotional charge and choose peace instead.
It is a form of mental and emotional release.
Yeah.
And Murphy contends that it's incredibly effective. By releasing that resentment, we free ourselves from the burden of the past and open ourselves up to greater happiness and peace.
It's all about shifting that internal state, isn't it? Cultivating those feelings of love, compassion, and forgiveness within ourselves. This discussion really highlights the interconnectedness of our inner world and our outer experiences. Our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions actually shaping the reality that we experience.
And that interconnectedness is a central theme in the book. And it brings us to another fascinating aspect that we touched on earlier, the concept of staying young in spirit.
Yes. I mean, we all want to stay young at heart, right? But Murphy seems to suggest that it's more than just a feeling. It's an actual state of being that we can cultivate.
He takes it a step further than simply feeling youthful. He proposes that aging is, to a large extent, a mental construct. It's influenced by our beliefs and attitudes.
Wait, so are you saying that I can just think my way to youthfulness?
It's not quite as simple as flipping a mental switch. However, he emphasizes that the mind and spirit, they don't necessarily age in the same way the physical body does. He cites numerous examples of individuals who remain active, vibrant and creative, well into their later years, defying those common stereotypes about aging.
So it's about challenging those limiting beliefs that society often imposes on us about getting older, that we're past our prime after a certain age.
Exactly. He points out that many cultures revere elders for their wisdom and experience. They see aging as a process of growth and continued contribution rather than decline. He even says your most productive years can be from 60 to 80. A bold statement, right? It challenges our assumptions about what's possible in later life.
That's inspiring. So how do we cultivate this youthful spirit? Is it just about positive thinking?
While positive thinking is certainly important, Murphy emphasizes the importance of having a vision for the future, something to look forward to, something to keep that spark of excitement alive.
So it's not about dwelling on the past or getting stuck in routines, but about embracing the present moment while anticipating the future, with enthusiasm and a sense of purpose.
Beautifully articulated. He even encourages us to get involved in new activities, learn new skills, challenge our minds. He says, and I'm quoting here, "Get a vision of yourself as happy, radiant, successful, serene, and powerful. A vision that transcends age and embraces the fullness of life."
Well, that's a vision I can get behind. It seems like the key to staying young in spirit is to cultivate that mindset of growth, curiosity, and just a zest for life. It's about embracing the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. And remember, as we've discussed throughout our deep dive, the subconscious mind doesn't always distinguish between imagination and reality.
So if we consistently visualize ourselves as youthful, vibrant, full of life, our subconscious will believe it and begin to reflect those qualities in our experiences.
Precisely. It's about aligning our inner and outer worlds, using the power of our imagination to shape our reality.
This has been an incredible exploration so far. I feel like I've gained so much valuable insight into the workings of my own mind and just the incredible potential that lies within.
And there's even more to come. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll wrap up our exploration of the power of your subconscious mind and leave you with some practical tips and takeaways. Things you can actually apply to your own life.
I can't wait. Stay tuned, deep divers. The best is yet to come. Welcome back to our deep dive. We've been exploring the power of your subconscious mind. And in this final part, we're going to distill everything into some practical stuff that you can actually start using.
Yeah, takeaways you can implement right away, starting today.
So what's the first thing our listeners should really focus on when they want to start working with their subconscious mind?
Well, I think the first and most important thing is just cultivating awareness of your thoughts. Your subconscious mind, it's constantly recording everything you're thinking, everything you're feeling. It's like this powerful internal camera that never stops.
So it's not just about trying to think positive thoughts every now and then. It's about actively shaping our mental landscape.
Exactly. It's about creating this consistent mental environment that really supports your goals, supports your aspirations. So begin by just paying attention to your inner dialogue, noticing any of those negative self-talk patterns, limiting beliefs, any fears that might be holding you back.
Yeah, like weeding a garden. Removing the thoughts that really hinder growth and making space for something beautiful to flourish. Okay, so once we've identified those mental weeds, what's next?
Replace them. Replace them with positive affirmations, empowering beliefs, and inspiring imagery. We talked a lot about affirmations and visualization, and they're key tools for reprogramming the subconscious mind.
But just repeating affirmations or visualizing our desires isn't enough, is it? It takes more than wishful thinking, right?
You're right. It's not about passively hoping for change. Repetition and consistency are vital. Just like learning any new skill, you need to practice these techniques diligently and regularly to create lasting change in that subconscious programming.
So we're essentially building new neural pathways, strengthening those positive thought patterns through practice.
That's a great way to put it. Murphy also emphasizes the importance of feeling the emotions associated with those affirmations and visualizations. Don't just go through the motions, really immerse yourself in the experience.
So instead of simply saying, I am wealthy, I should really try to feel the abundance, the joy, and the gratitude that comes with financial freedom.
Precisely. The more emotion you infuse into these practices, the more potent they become, the more they can influence your subconscious mind.
And that's where faith and belief come in, right? It's about trusting in the process and believing with your whole heart that what you're affirming is possible.
Exactly. And trust is a key component too. Trusting in the wisdom and power of your subconscious mind to guide you and bring your desires into reality. It's a partnership, a collaboration between your conscious intentions and those subconscious capabilities.
All of this makes sense in theory. But what about when life throws us curveballs? How do we stay positive and use the power of our subconscious when we're facing, challenges and setbacks?
Well, I think that's when it becomes even more crucial to remember the power of your subconscious mind. Instead of allowing fear and negativity to take over, turn to your subconscious for solutions. Focus on the desired outcome, not on the problem itself.
So if I lose my job, instead of panicking and dwelling on the loss, I should shift my focus to finding a new, even better opportunity. Visualize myself already succeeding in that new role.
Exactly. Use that challenging experience as fuel to propel yourself forward. Remember, your subconscious mind doesn't dwell on the past. It's always focused on the present and the future. By choosing to focus on the desired outcome, you align your subconscious energy with that possibility.
So it's like using that initial fear or disappointment as energy to create momentum towards something even better. But these techniques aren't just for, major life changes, are they? We can use them for everyday situations, too.
Absolutely. They're applicable to anything you want to change, anything you want to improve, anything you want to create in your life. Let's say you have to give an important presentation at work and you're feeling nervous. Instead of giving into that fear, try creating a mental movie of yourself confidently delivering that presentation.
And visualize the audience engaged, interested, and responding positively. Really feel that sense of accomplishment and satisfaction.
That's it. The more you rehearse that mental scenario, the more your subconscious mind will accept it as a likely outcome. And when the actual presentation arrives, you'll be amazed at how much more composed and confident you feel.
Wow, this is incredible. It's like we have this amazing mental movie projector inside of us, and we get to choose which film we play, the one filled with fear and doubt, or the one that's brimming with confidence and success.
And that, in essence, is the heart of the power of your subconscious mind. It's about recognizing that you are the director of your own life, the author of your own story.
This deep dive has been such a fascinating journey. I feel like I've gained so much valuable insight into how my own mind works and the incredible potential that we all have.
And remember, this is just the beginning. The more you explore, the more you experiment with these techniques, the more you'll unlock those limitless possibilities that reside within you.
Do you have any final words of wisdom for our listeners as they, embark on this journey of working with their subconscious mind?
Never underestimate the power of your belief. What you consistently focus on, you create. So choose to focus on love, joy, abundance, all the good things life has to offer. Trust that your subconscious mind will conspire with you to bring those desires into reality.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible exploration of the power of the subconscious mind. We hope you feel inspired and empowered to create a life that truly reflects your deepest desires and aspirations.